So Jerome Powell possibly saved crypto, but the question is it safe to max bid the crypto market, or could this be a bull trap, which is currently being said? We'll discuss this and a whole lot more in today's show. We'll talk about the exact level that you need to watch for a Bitcoin close this week. Otherwise, if you don't, you could be going much lower. But we'll also talk about what's most likely to happen at Jackson Hole today and whether we are going to get continuation towards the upside, as we've seen extremely wild and volatile shifts within the probabilities of an interest rate cut. And even until today, which is going to be a weekend, of course, we're still seeing those probabilities shifting from what was 7% chance of no rate cut to then 10%, 14%, 25%, back to 10%, and now back to 25%. So it's been absolutely crazy up there. Extreme volatility within the market, and consequently you're seeing prices move all over the place over here. Dailies are to the upside over here, but hourlies are still trying to find their way following what was a pretty big move. So we'll talk about this. We'll have a look at the key levels. We'll talk about whether it's a good time to look for positions on a pullback. We spoke about yesterday the TD sequential 9 buy, which was firing off over there, and what this simply suggests is a possibility of anywhere between 1 and 4 candles towards the upside, reversing the prior downtrend over there. So you got the 1 candle, which means, again, you need to look to certain key levels to be reclaimed, and you need to see certain levels held up, which we'll talk about what those levels are when we move on to the lower time frames. A quick reminder of what the prior times you've had these TD sequential 9 buys do in the past. You can have a look. This is ever since the lows over here for the entirety of this bull market from the FTX lows. These have been some of the historical results. So out of 10 times, well, we can now say that the 10th time did amount to something. We'll fill that out in, once we get the confirmation of this close, how high things go. But previously, we've only seen 2 of them fail, was number 3 and number 8. And all the other times did produce some decent bounces, right? With the lowest being 5% and the highest being a 58.24% move, confirming the low. So if you can close above Sunday's high, that's going to be the first thing. We spoke about that. If you're incredibly conservative, you want to see closes above Sunday's high. That was a major point of control at about $117,000, $118,000. That's your next major resistance. You need to see bulls reclaim that. But we'll also talk about the downside. Whenever you see a big expansive candle, which we've recently seen, a lot of market participants will begin to look for long trade opportunities. I'll show you where the best place would be to long and where you want to place your stop loss and where you want to see those daily and weekly closes to confirm that things will probably continue towards the upside. So it's all being driven by the high impact announcements and things that have been coming out from Jackson Hole. For example, of course, Jerome Powell came out with a very, very dovish speech, and for the first time in a very long time, showing that they may actually shift monetary policy, which is really what you need to develop any sort of an altcoin season. And we are seeing that continuation of the bear flag on Bitcoin dominance. So we'll have a look at that. We have another day to go, right? So we had Jackson Hole yesterday. We have day 3, the final day of Jackson Hole. So we'll see if that throws any sort of a curveball. And you can actually vote over there what your thoughts are. Is it safe to max long, or is it going to be a bull trap? We have 38% of you that believe, let's go, it's safe to long. 21% of you think it's a bull trap, nuke it towards the downside. And I would say that the wise 41% of you are unsure and you want to see the weekly close. And I think that's probably the one that hits most home with me, is unsure, because it's a tricky environment and we do need to wait for that weekly close. And I'll show you why it's a tricky environment. Stay tuned until the very end. So from 𝗙𝗵𝗇 letter, big move up, right? 80 points. On the S&P 500, huge move coming actually off of that key support, which we outlined yesterday. We spoke about the range low, we spoke about the mid-range, and we spoke about the range high. And we said that that mid-range on the 4-hour time frame is theoretically still in an uptrend, and you want to see prices hold that level. That is the level to defend. And I guess you got that move in a much bigger fashion than even I would have expected. And they say over here, shifting the balance, right? Powell said, and we quote, shifting balance of risks may warrant adjusting Fed policy for the first time, right? We've seen him say something like that. So you got to watch the stock market. Watch the stock market. Crypto is going to be driven by the stock market. But let's not forget, don't forget, the seasonal weakness is 100 years worth of data, and that is still the most likely base case outcome in the month of September. And if not September, possibly pushing it a bit forward into October. Base case scenario would still be that you're going to have some sort of a seasonal weak period and a bit of a correction irrespective of whether they cut interest rates or not. This is the market pricing things in very, very aggressively. And you always have to remember the market is always forward looking. So as soon as you get an announcement like that, news-driven traders jump into the market, and usually news-driven traders are very, very quick in and out of their positions. So we need to watch, we need to pay attention to this, and you can see how these target rate probabilities have completely shifted. It's absolutely wild. I can't even keep up with how quick this is changing. If you have a look over here at the current rate, which is 425 to 450, this has gone from, 37.6% chance to 14% chance to 25% chance, and it's had a lot in between, right? This is not representing each and every hour of the day. If you had to get that kind of data, you'd see it would look as volatile as a crypto chart. So it's been pretty crazy over there. And we said that, a lot of market participants ever since last week started to go short over here on the deltas. And that short persisted day after day after day. You can see, look at those deltas over there on High Block Capital, short, all the way through. So you did put in a bit of a short squeeze whilst that stock market, of course, came into key support over there. And it's been pretty sketchy, right? Look at that, 477 million worth of short traders. Never a good idea to short. Always better if you are positioning for downside to rather move into a cash position as opposed to actually entering into a short trade, at least in my personal opinion. But the question is it a trap? That's what you all want to know, right? Remember, we spoke about in the very short term, there's a chance that you get a short squeeze with a little bit of an upside move, but then you need to pay attention to two key metrics. You need to pay attention, number one, to the daily exchange volume that's coming onto exchanges to see, is the bid going to be sustained? That's one way that you can do it. And the other way is you can actually look at the volume chart, and we can look at some of the volume profiles, and that's what we're going to do in today's video. If you have a look over here at the daily exchange volume, I'm only going to get an update on this in a couple of hours time for the 23rd of August. But what you can see over here is a pretty aggressive move towards the downside, showing that the wind is out the sails, right? So maybe you caught a little bit of a wave that pushed you forward in that ship, but ultimately you need that real wind in the sails to continue that momentum. And if that wind doesn't return over here, you have to be very, very, very cautious with any sort of a bounce, especially when driven off of a news event. Now, we'll talk about the levels that will really begin to shift things into an extremely bullish bias. So again, stay until the end, listen to everything I have to say, and then you can let me know what your thoughts are, right? Make those determinations. Remember, we're looking at yesterday the 2-week scale over here, and we're looking at that stochastic RSI, which was coming towards the downside, and we still need to see the break of the RSI falling wedge over here that's on both the 2-week and the weekly scale. And we said that we need bulls to act very soon. We gave it a 48-hour period, with that 48-hour period now coming to an end, and we got the move towards the upside, which would ultimately cross this stochastic RSI back towards the upside. Every single one of these major corrective phases have occurred, and these have been quite long-term corrections. They've all occurred off of that stochastic RSI crossing down, right? So very, very critical place. So now those stochastic RSIs can start to move back towards the upside. And if you look at the weekly scale over here, there it is on the MACD as well, ultimately avoiding that bearish cross towards the downside. But bulls will need to step up, and they'll need to continue to hold prices here for prolonged periods of time to avoid that bearish cross on the MACD. If you get the MACD crossing on the weekly, expect that these things are going to start to play out. And I'm going to give you the levels on the daily that you want to see them hold. The bulls need to hold a certain level. And if they can defend that level, expect that that RSI will keep moving towards the upside. Stochastic RSI will remain moving towards the upside, and there can be some newfound momentum. But again, you have to look at everything, all things considered. Very difficult to maintain that momentum when the daily exchange volume is moving towards the downside. We've seen also the Google search terms. Go do it yourself. Type in Google Trends, put in crypto, altcoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those various different key phrases that people would search on Google, and look at where the direction of that trend is, and you'll see that it's mostly moved towards the downside. So that's the first thing over there. Bulls have to basically defend the recent low. That's going to be a clear invalidation. You came very close to the support over here. In terms of the simple question, is it a bull market or is it a bear market? To answer that very simply, as long as you're above the 21 weekly exponential moving average and it's angled towards the upside, that's a key thing, right? Which direction is it angled? Which way is it sloping? Its gradient is towards the upside. You're above the stop and reversal indicator over there, which has got double confluence. And therefore, as long as you're above that, yes, it's a bull market. So bull market's still intact. but definitely starting to see the wind coming out the sails and momentum beginning to shift. And that's why you need to be cautious with any sort of downside risk that could be coming into the market. You've broken that trend line as well. If we look at this over here, we are still below that trend line. Following a break of a trend line, you can sometimes come back for that bearish retest. And I guess that's ultimately what you want to be careful of. Now, if you do reject, we spoke about this, it would be a back test into key support, resistance, resistance, resistance. You haven't actually theoretically tested that as support. So even if you do flush towards the downside, this is going to be a vitally important area. It's, you got stacked with support over here, anywhere between $99,000 and up to about $108,000. There is a lot of support. So remember the two things we said we have to look at. We said we want to see the daily exchange volume move towards the upside. Which way is it moving? It's moving down, right? It's moving down. The second thing you want to look at is what is happening with the volume. When you get a big pump towards the upside, volume is vitally important to have a look at. And when you have a look at this volume, yes, yesterday's daily volume bar did move up. Now, give it a bit more time. If you continue to grind up and the volume is declining over here, which currently the daily volume is extremely low, that becomes a strong warning signal, right? And you can see it over here. If you look relative to this move towards the upside, so this move that drove towards the upside, look at how the volume went towards the upside over here. And then you have a look at the next move when you set in that high, that volume dropped off significantly. And that was a warning sign that you may actually drop off over there. And you can go back, do your own homework over here, have a look at each time that you made an attempt at those highs, look at the volume over here, look at this move towards the upside, look at the volume over here, relative to the volume that we currently have within the market. So relatively speaking, you're talking about volume that's probably down about 60 to 70% relative to what we previously had with all these other attempts at the highs. So we need to see volume come back into the market is basically what I'm saying. Otherwise, it supports what you're seeing on the 7-day daily exchange volume with the wind being out the sails. Now, price action is the most important thing. At the end of the day, as long as you're putting in higher highs and higher lows, right? That's the name of the game. That's how you get paid. You buy low and you sell high, right? Higher highs and high lows is the name of the game. And you want to see that continue up irrespective of what these secondary things are saying. But the secondary things become warning signals and show you how to be cautious. And there it is, right? We have the bear moon. Now, I pose that question to you. Is this going to be one of those times that you fade the bear moon? Can you guys hear that? I apologize, guys. There is something going on over here, which sounds like major construction. Is this going to be one of those times that you're going to fade the bear moon? We are printing a bear moon. We've given the conservative target, the aggressive target to get long again was we needed to see price reclaim the breakdown level, which was Tuesday's high coming in just under 117,000, right? The next level to reclaim was Sunday's high, which was going to be 118,672. And this is for the conservatives out there. So you guys let me know, what are you going to do? Are you going to fade the bear moon? I posed this question over here to the 𝗲𝗚 members. Let me show you what these guys have to say. Let's show the results over here. So they say also similar to you guys, undecided. They're going to be waiting for the weekly close to determine what's next. We have 21% who are going to listen to the bear moon this time. They're going to exit the market. Remember, the bear moon lines up with that seasonally weak environment, right? So something to be aware of, something to be cautious of over there. Now, I said to you, I'm going to tell you the levels that you want to see price hold up at. So right now, again, full conservative safety to say that you've avoided disaster is reclaiming Sunday's high. That was a critical level. Not only does that line up with a major pivot point, but it also lines up with the 50% level, which is at 118,000. So you got your range high, you got your range low, you got your 50% level. Basically, if you can recapture that, that will allow those moving averages to start to turn back towards the upside. And that's where things start to look really, really good again. Theoretically, this is a resistance zone that you're coming into right now, which is why you want to be cautious. And this is where the big traps come into play. I've marked out all the range levels. As you can see over here, you've theoretically tested back into the range quarterly, which is also the volume point of control, right? If you look at the little fine red line that's running through the screen over here at 118,000, that is the volume point of control over there. Now, if you look towards the lower levels, well, you can see over here the white line that you're testing right now. And I'll zoom in on that, right? The white line that you're testing right now is the level that you want to hold. And this is from the recent trading range. The most recent trading range that we have, this is your value area low, the white dotted line. And that's coming in at exactly where this wick low is pretty much. It's 115,491. You want to see bulls close that level. If bulls fail to close at this level, that's where you have to open up the possibility that this may be a bull trap and you may go lower. So the two things you're looking for, actually, in fact, three things. You want to see, actually, in fact, four things, right? Let's write the four things down. One, you want to see the daily exchange volume move towards the upside. So that is the 7-day daily exchange volume. Number two, so volume up. Number two, you also want to see the normal volume profile rising with price. Number three, you want to see if price can reclaim back above the pink zone over here, which is going to be getting above 118,000. And number four, if price is moving towards the downside, you don't want any closes below this 115,500, which is going to be the value area low. So there's four things that you want to be focusing on, four levels that, or at least two levels that you want to defend and reclaim, and two things you want to see with regards to the volume, and that will be a strong indication that bulls are taking control. So are bulls in control yet? It's too difficult to say. Right now, bears have been in major control, and I think we need a bit more information. You do have volume as well, or excuse me, liquidity on the upside over here on the 24-hour scale. Let's go on the weekly over there. If we have a look at the weekly over here, volume, you got a lot of liquidity now building up underneath at $111,000. So be aware of a potential trap. Now, anytime you put in a big move, if you are bullish bias, all you need to do is put your stop loss underneath that recent low. Anytime you see a large candle towards the upside, it's full invalidation on a bullish case if you take out that expansive candle's low. Literally as easy as that, which means you have the ability to actually long anything that you want. And you just have to say to yourself, as long as you don't take out yesterday's low, it's okay. You can hold that long. And it's a 50-50 long based on everything that I've shown you right now. It's not a high probability long, but the theory would be that you'd pull back slightly, find some of those supports around that mid-range level, which is also known as filling the fair value gap, and then you'd be looking for support to be found. But again, I do want to remind you, we've seen the success of this, the bull and the bear moon, right? If you have a look over here, bear moon price comes down, bull moon price goes up, bear moon price goes down, bull moon price goes up, bear moon, what happens next? Big question mark for this part of the trading range, right? Very, very, very important to watch over there. It is going to be dictated by what happens today at Jackson Hole and what is said in those speeches. Okay. Big breakdown in Bitcoin dominance, almost hitting our final target over here at 57.57. So bear flag, there it is. There was your bearish flag. There was the measured move for the bear flag, currently breaking down. The good news is now you've spent a lot of time underneath the macro level over here of support from the parallel channel. So this has been a multi-year parallel channel, right? Multi-year parallel channel. You finally breaking that down. The ultimate target for me personally on the Bitcoin dominance would be around that 50% level, but we'll cross that road when we get there one step at a time. You're looking at the USDT dominance, one of the most important charts to be focused on, but more specifically focusing on it on the daily time frame. So this was a very critical level. And I said, if you consolidate above that 50 EMA, which is in red, and you hold that level any longer, you may be making a run at the high over here, and that's going to cause a lot of damage within the market. But you still manage to maintain that downtrend and get that sudden drop. So similar to Bitcoin and any other crypto that you're looking at, when you see a strong candle move towards the downside, you have a clear level of invalidation. And we're going to move that over here now. If you take out this low, so or this high, excuse me, if you get back above this candle, which was yesterday's candle high, you invalidate on the long thesis, and then you're going to be looking at this as a major, major trap. If you continue towards the downside, I am looking at this always from a cautious perspective, and I would just want to be careful over here that you don't put in any sort of a inverse head and shoulders over here. So there it is, inverse head and shoulders. You can see kind of a falling wedge pattern over here. So really you want to see this grind down, and you want to take out this white line at 3.8 and head down towards 3.18, which is going to be major support. That could create some beautiful runs, especially if you get continued breakdown in the Bitcoin dominance. So we'll have to look at each chart independently over here. The weeklies are really, really overshot with that money wave over here from Market Cypher B. You can see it starting to come towards the downside. It's got those red dots over there, but the dailies are still looking okay, right? If you have a look at the daily is what we said could provide some short-term relief in the form of that short squeeze, which is pretty much what's occurred now. And now you want to pay attention to all those key levels. So again, quick reminder on the key levels that you're looking at. Can price get above 118,000 for Bitcoin is the first thing, and can price continue to hold above 115.5 is the second thing, with a rise in volume. So we said today that we'd specifically, have a look at the show in relation to the bots. And for those that weren't able to join Pionex, you can see all the Pionex bots are pretty much moving towards the upside over here, getting some sizable moves. So decent moves over here on the Pionex bots. Everything is looking good. We got our old trades, which are the 3 and 5Xs, 3 and 5X longs. And then we have all of the new trades, which are the 8X longs. Now, there's still opportunity to join into these 8X long ones if you do want to for Pionex. The link is below. All you have to do is go there, click copy Kyle's strategies. You will first need to sign up or you won't be able to join. And then that's it, right? Just come over here and copy the strategies. The strategy will copy my parameters. It gives you the ranges over here. You're welcome to join it on your own, right? You're welcome to build your own strategy based on what you believe is the best ranges, right? Anything with a star over here, which is only on 4 of them, means that you're getting better value than what I am when I initially got in. We open up small positions. But now what we said is, for those of you that were not able to join, what we'd do is we'd show you on Blowfin how you can open up similar trades, right? Because Blowfin has no KYC. So certain people in the UK and things like that are not able to open these trades on Pionex. Okay. So let's have a look. We'll have a look at the main ones, the 8X ones. We'll see if there's opportunities for you to get in over there. Again, clear invalidation across the board is basically going to be yesterday's low. If you take out yesterday's low, you're out, right? Then you're playing out the bearish scenario where you may come down towards those low targets, anywhere between Bitcoin to 100,000 up to about 108,000 as your major support levels. If you hold yesterday's low, it's going to start to look like a major high low across the board, and you may make a run for it towards some of these target areas, like on 𝗬𝗎, for example. I'm still hoping for that 885, possibly even 955 over there, right? Okay, so let's have a look at it. If the noise comes back, by the way, guys, we will have to cut the stream. I do apologize. Unfortunately, this is the way the world works. Some people do construction at 11 a.m. on a Saturday morning. It just is what it is, right? What can you do? But so far, we'll see what happens over here. So also, just to mention, if you do sign up to Blowfin, 9 days left to go, and you can join into Whale School. You don't have to pay the $2,000. The link is here. Just go through to Blowfin. There it is. Step 1, click the link, sign up. As soon as you've signed up and joined, it will come up with a pop-up for step 2, claim your access. Limited spots available for Whale School. Would love to see you guys there. So let's get into it. We're going to just go through some of these trades over here. For example, if we go to render, this is the plan of action, right? We've established the trading range, and we said we want to be buying into the green and selling into the red. So it's been loading up over the last couple of days, and now it's moving into the area where it is actually beginning to sell. So how would you take a trade like this, for example, on Blowfin? So let's first go to the actual chart. We'll go to render. And again, guys, if I have to cut it, we'll have to pick this up on, unfortunately, on Monday. But nevertheless, let's have a look. So basically what we're saying is, if you have a look at render, we've established the trading range. We can probably get a bit more precise given the recent part of the move over here to determine some additional key levels. And we can say, well, you know what, if you start to take out that low, we probably want to be out of the position. So in terms of a risk to reward, we'd be looking at it like this, right? Let's just quickly grab our risk to reward tool over here. We'd be looking at it like this. We can scale into this position on render. Anywhere from here, we basically want to stop out at the bottom of that trading range over there. And we can target at minimum up to 470, but probably at least up to about 5.1. So the plan of action, and let's just double click on this and we'll say style, show stats. So if you want to join along, open up your Blowfin account, sign up if you haven't already, and we'll try and take some of these trades. So first and foremost, we need to look for render. I just deposited a little bit of additional capital on here. This is going to be a leverage trade, by the way, so that we can start to take these. So you'll go through over here, and it's going to say, usually you'll get to this page. It'll say trade. Also, what I'll do is I'll link a very comprehensive, full-on Blowfin tutorial for anyone that's new and confused, from A to Z, how to sign up, how to claim your bonus, how to deposit money on, how to move the money between accounts, how to get to this section and do what we're about to do, right? The full tutorial will be dropped after the show. So we're on render. We're looking at render over here. We got leverage on 3x. I'm wondering if I should increase this. We're going to make sure it's left on isolated leverage so that you don't compromise the rest of your trading account. But I think Okay, let's leave this one on 3x because render is obviously got much wider ranges. And then we'll have a look at this chart over here to start to build some of these positions. So maybe we can just do it directly on here. We're looking at this on the daily time frame, and that's what we'll do. We'll expand this. There we go. Let's expand this slightly, and we'll just do exactly the same thing, but over here. So we're looking at the daily range. There it is, calling that the range low, calling this the key level to take profit, but more specifically, we're probably easily going to go up to about 550 over there. So that's the trade setup. So what you want to do is you want to click, it says trade. You want to click on tools, right? Then you want to go to futures grid. Then you want to go to manual. So you're on buy, you're on manual. We don't want to do AI strategies. You can experiment with this if you want to. We just want to go to manual over there. We want to establish what is the low of the range over here. So the lowest price that we want to be buying is 3.289, right? 3.289. There it is, 3.289. And the highest price is pretty much the current price. And now just need to see if you layer in the orders here, if it works the same way as Pionex. So I'm going to try it now, and then I'll let you know. I believe that the highest price should be the current price, whereas on Pionex, it works a little bit differently. So 3.87, pretty much 4. Let's go 4 over there. How many grids do we want? I want to scale in with probably about maybe like 50. There it is. Yeah. So it's as expected, right? This works. It's a little bit different to Pionex. On Pionex, I just want to quickly let you know this. On Pionex, where it says the lower range, you'd write the lowest that you'd want price to go. And then the high of the range is where you think your TP would be. On this, you're going to you're going to scale your buy orders in from the high down to the low. And then you're going to have to manually set your take profits along the way, which is where Pionex works a little bit differently. Okay, cool. We've got that in play. I did deposit about $5,000, I think, into this account. So it's showing equity 4.7. I just need to move some of that across. There should be a more capital than that. But nevertheless, let's do like $500 bids over here, 3x leverage. So it's a $1,500 position, and we create the buy. Okay, bot created. Click on the details if you want to manage that bot. If you want to go and do anything different to the position over here or make any changes, you can do that. You can see everything over here. We don't have any sell side, so it's going to begin to scale into that. You can adjust your margin. You can do absolutely everything that you need to do over there. So we've started that position over there. Let's just scroll to the very bottom. So there it is, render. Also had a say position that I previously opened, I think also on a bot. That was for the purpose of the demonstration. So that is on the tutorial video, that is. So that's already up. Okay, cool. So we got that one in play. Let's have a look at the next one that we had was near. Okay, so we had near. Again, this is just for the people that couldn't copy those. Your best bet is you just go to Pionex over here and literally just copy it. It's going to be the easiest thing for you to do. This is for the people that can't get on Pionex and want to use 𝗏𝗏. Okay, so we have to go to near. Let's set the positions up for near. Futures, add that as a favorite. Go through. We're still on the same thing. Just double check that they don't change anything over here. We remain on 3x leverage, which is good. And let's grab our risks reward tool, long position over here, scaling in if price comes down towards those recent lows. So that is the position. I would scale down to about $2 in case you sweep that low, $2.28. And high probability take profit is going to be 330. But I'm going to go a little bit high. I'm going to go towards this order block over here on the left-hand side. So that's the trade setup over here. Everything is showing. Let's quickly put it in. The low price is going to be written on the right-hand side in red is 228.6, right? The high price is going to be the current price, which is going to be 2,688. The number of grids that I'm going to put is around 50. That looks good to me. Happy with that. And same amount, 1,500 position size, $500 times 3 is 1.5. Create the buy, and let's hit it. Perfect. We don't need the details. We can move straight on to the next one. Alrighty. Let's close that. What is our next one? Pengu. So there it is, Pengu, prepping for the next move up. Let's go to 𝗏𝗏. Also, by the way, guys, I want to let you know very quickly before we move on. Remember, I'm about 7.5x up on this. This position is almost done 750-ish% or something. I think it can move about 1,000% from the original entry. This is nobody's sausage, but I am slowly DCAing out here. Okay, cool. Full spoiler alert. Unfortunately, not everyone watches the Saturday videos. So what's probably going to happen is they're going to come and complain and say, you didn't tell us. And I did Saturday. So tell your friends, right? Remember to tell your friends that if they haven't watched the video, they need to watch Saturday's video, because Kyle did say he is currently DCAing out of this position. I think it can run as high as this, but come on, Lux, I've done 7.5x. How much more money do you need, right? We'll reallocate if there is going to be a bigger pullback, but I'd prefer to be safe over there. Anyway, cool. Back into the mix over here. 𝗵𝗛𝗄. So let's grab 𝗵𝗛𝗄, PNGU. And now it's gone. Let's try that again. 𝗵𝗛𝗄. And let's just add that as a favorite. Favorites, 𝗵𝗛𝗄. Let's go to it. Perfect. Okay, nice. So it has been one of the stronger coins. We're going to load up on this one as well. Again, gridding in, less risky. This is the way to do it, at least in my opinion. Unfortunately, we don't have the prior history over here on this, but we can at least set the buy orders. The TPs will come at a later stage. So clear invalidation underneath these lows. Keep it nice and tight over there. Any little pullback that comes into play over there, you're looking to scale in. If you really want to be safe on this one, you can probably scale down to 0.021. I'll probably go with less risk on this one, just because I think the range can move a bit further down, and this one is going to be more risky. So 0.02. Okay, 0.028. There we go. And the high price is going to be the current price, which is 0.035. Okay, cool. We got that. 50 grids, and we put in $500. Oh, we said we'll go less on this one, 250. Okay, create buy. There it is. All right, so you guys get the picture, right? Most of you can create these ranges yourself. Let me know in the comments, do you want me to go through all of them, or do you want to do it on your own? Let's say we get cut off now with someone drilling or something over here. All you need to do is go over here, click on Pionex, copy the strategies. The ranges are already set over here. If you go in here, you'll see over here, price range. So that's the low of the range, 165. So you'd scale your orders in from current price down to 165. 𝗵𝗛𝗄, current price down to 0.027, and so forth, right? 𝗬𝗎, current price down to 235. Okay, let me know in the comments. Do you want me to continue, or do you want to do it on your own? Because I know for some people, they'll be like, this is repetitive. But I'm happy to do it. I'm going to wait. We'll wait for some of your comments to feed through here. It's got a slight lag over there. Also, while you're at it, guys, smash the like button. If you haven't already, do us a favor, smash the like button. It really helps to get the show content out there. Okay, Chuck says, nah, it's okay. Ice Cream Mango says, do on own. Continue. It's educational from Dan. Continue. So a couple of you want me to continue. Some of you say no. Some of you say you're okay. It's very, very easy, right? Very simple what I've shown you. All you have to do, there's that video for, let's actually see, where's this? What is going on over here? Do I not have the YouTube open today? Oh, it is. It's over here. Let's go to this quickly. So all you have to do, go through to Crypto Banter. There it is. So we're on the show now. Our YouTube count is absolutely wrecked, by the way. It's still showing there's 20 of you here, but we can clearly see there's, I think we got about 1,500 of you. Playlists. Go to playlists or go to podcasts. Actually, podcasts over here. Click on my name, full podcast. Scroll down. There is the 𝗷𝗆𝗆 full tutorial. So if you want to know how to do all of this from A to Z, we're going to link this at the top, right? You need to go to that over there. Anyway, okay, let's continue. We'll continue with a few more. Let's just see what the opportunities are, right? Maybe we'll make some adjustments. Let's go through everything quickly. Let's go to Bonk. So how's Bonk looking? We added that one in, right? Bonk. Okay, there it is, Bonk. Futures, click on it very quickly. Bonk, okay. We previously had, I think this is from, let's just see, do I have anything over here on Bonk? Nothing on Bonk. No trades on Bonk yet. Daily chart. So remember, also check those 50% levels. Move from the bottom side to the upside. And let's quickly change this up a bit. Style 0.32. Let's just leave that 50% on. All right. Okay, so you're still below the 50% level. This is on Bonk. So for any of these coins to move into a position of strength, you need to reclaim those 50% levels. This is why I say, on a lot of stuff, it's still kind of risky over here, because you could run up over here, put in a lower high, and then continue to mark down all the way to the bottom of the trading range. So this one's range is a little bit big for me to take on 𝗏𝗏𝗡. Okay, as 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗏 says over here, and you always got to trust the drug dealer, right? The strategies on 𝗏𝗏𝗡 are different to Pionex. It is, right? Pionex is going to be different. It is different. So you have to be clear, guys. Remember, on Pionex, it's doing it pretty much automatically for you. So it's got a little bit of an AI thing in it where it's basically between each minuscule grid creating miniature buys and sells. So it's easier to manage on Pionex. So I definitely recommend if you can do it on Pionex, do it over there. This is on 𝗏𝗏𝗡 is more just layering in different orders. It's like putting limit orders manually, but they're giving you a grid strategy where you can do it quickly. And you can just say like 100 grids, right? It's like putting 100 limit orders. Okay. All right. What else have we got? What else have we got over here? Let's quickly have a look through some of maybe the normal charts over here, because it's just going to be a bit quicker to go through stuff. So these were our Pionex grids. We'll go back on the weekly scale. Let's run through some of the majors over here. So the plan for ETH was always, remember, we had taken this ETH position down at 1550. That little swing failure pattern over there, reclaimed the trading range. We then took it again at around, you can't even see it on the weekly time frame, but if you flip to the daily, there was that consolidation down here, right? 1750. It felt like forever, and this started to mark up. So we've been in the ETH trade for quite a long period of time. I am de-risking already. I just want to be clear. I'm de-risking already. So this can break out and easily move all the way up, but you need to be aware and cautious of any deviation. Do I think that we're going to get the deviation? I think it depends on how Bitcoin closes the week. If Bitcoin can close this week strong and we have a really good day with Jackson Hole today again, then I think that any weekly close that confirms up here is going to be looking good for continuation. But understand, this has been a pretty enormous move. At some point, there's going to be a deep flush, probably back testing into the range high over here, which is more or less where you're currently at. Okay, XRP. Okay, holding up over here, very choppy. Solana's been one of the top performers over here, looking really good, reclaiming that 50% level. So we got the throwback into the golden pocket over there. It is holding up. Obviously, next stop, it's going to make a move probably towards these highs over here. Big cup and handle, right? What looks like a big cup and handle over there on Solana. Okay, haven't come down yet over here on 𝗧𝗍. I am long on 𝗧𝗍 on some of these small leverage accounts and the Pionex account, but I would only be long scaling in, right? As per the Pionex bots, our invalidation was if it breaks below the red line. Anyway, where you see a red line, that was the lowest price that we wanted to bid. So on 𝗬𝗎, if price came down, it would be buying on those grids. The lowest price that we would get in is 230. On Sonic, now Sonic, we don't have it marked off on this particular one. Let's continue. What else have we got over here? We need to, okay, Cardano trying to make a move again over here, right? This started to look really bad, deviating below that key level. You're now starting to fight to reclaim that on Cardano. So this, next level is going to be about 120. If you can close above 120, you start to open up some of these high targets like 225. Okay, Tron is still marking its way up. So a lot of these things are still relatively early. I personally don't think that it's an enormous rush into any of these positions. I think that you can remain patient and wait for the weekly close as well if you want to be extra cautious. Look at that on Bonk. Let's just double check this fib over here that we have it marked correctly. So from the high to the low on the fib, pretty much testing and holding. It went through that golden pocket, but it's closing back above on the weekly scale. So as soon as you get back above this 50% level, that's going to be a much higher probability confirmation, right? So if you can get back above those highs, this will start to definitely look like a high-low. And now you have a beautiful trade. So again, it's all about how aggressive you are. If you're very aggressive, you can just long basically with your stop loss underneath the recent lows. If you're conservative, you want to wait for a reclaim of some of these key levels, and that will start to look much more likely that a higher low is in play, and then you can start to trade that towards those highs. Yes, we live. For those of you asking, this is a live show indeed. What happened to Rand show yesterday? Internet. Mzansi Internet, South Africa. They put the show up and it got pulled down because of the internet. Okay. What? All right, guys, we've been through a lot of here. Let's just see. We went through XRP. Let's quickly look through a couple more of these meme coins. Butthole, it's been stretched. That one's down quite a lot. Yeah, still chopping about over here on PopCat. Useless, also all over the place. Mog, look, a lot of these, if you close like this, a lot of these are going to start to look like they're going to want to begin to reverse trend over here. So it's going to be very interesting because we know that seasonally weak period is coming up. Base case is still that, you know, the cycle top is not in and you're probably going to top in Q4. That's my base case. Okay, base case. And you will get some sort of an altcoin pump. I just don't know how big it will be. Updates on Nobody Sausage. Yes, I said I'm DCAing out. We've had a beautiful move, 7.5x up on the position from the original entry from the lows here. And yeah, that's it. Starting to take a little bit of profit. We can work out some of these fib extensions very quickly. Where is our fib over here? Let's just grab that fib-based extension. Let's just quickly line up and see how this looks. Okay, yeah, the 1.618 is coming in where I previously mentioned. So that was the target over here is coming in at 0.12. Okay, so 12 cents. 12 cents was the target. That was a big profit-taking area. But the later and later we get into the crypto cycle, the quicker I am to take profit. So instead of whereas previously I'd wait for that exact level to get hit, now kind of come with the mentality that anything that breaks out, I begin to slowly scale out of the position into that purple box. Ethereum to 10K, I think, yeah, 7.8K is my more realistic target. Chainlink, we can have a look at it. Where's Chainlink? Okay, let's just quickly pull that up. Link USDT. I mean, it's testing a pretty key area as well. It hasn't been, you know, like a good looking chart. It's been very choppy and all over the place, but that's going to be a major resistance over here for Chainlink is $30. If Chainlink can get above $30, you know, then you talk about starting to possibly target those highs. Pablo, I'm not sure what you mean. How much you need to go in with whale room? You need to rephrase that. I don't know what you mean. But whale room is here, right? The link is here. If you do want to join into whale room, guys, I'm not the only trader that's there. There is 4 other pro traders trading both traditional markets, gold, forex, absolutely everything, all linked in the description below over there. If you do want to join, just scroll through to the bottom. You have to go to this video today and just scroll through to the bottom over here. Everything is linked over there. Okay, it's all down here. Also, for anybody that's, you know, not already in Pionex, just remember, as we said, that doing this via Bluefin is slightly different. It's going to require much more active management, and you're going to have to set up your take profits along the way. Okay, so you're going to want to keep an eye out on that. Whale room is pure gem. Thanks, Success Tech Hub. Appreciate it. I'll tell the team. I'll tell the team. They will be very happy to hear that you said that. Cool. All right, guys, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining. We've been through a bunch. It's going to be vitally important to watch for that weekly close. I will update all of you in whale room. The levels there have been dropped. Value area low must be defended. 115,500 for Bitcoin. And preferably you want to see Bitcoin get back above $118,000 and hold that with a rise in volume. That is vitally important to watch that volume because you cannot have a sustainable rally, especially in the altcoins, without the 7-day daily exchange moving average grinding towards the upside, and currently that is coming down. That is the picture of health and fitness. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good day and cheers.